There is no ban. So if I've received a ticket, what happened?
If the ticketing is about them having tinted their cars, then that ticket is legally invalid.
What powers do law enforcement officers have at a roadblock? I get there, can they ask for my driver's license and take it away from me?
The police can stop a vehicle. They can ask for a license. That's the only way they will know whether you, Farai, who is driving your GD6, you are lawfully doing so under the laws of Zimbabwe. In some instances, this has been abused.
Yeah.
The police cannot take your license to fix you. If the police are unhappy with any aspect of your vehicle or your conduct concerning a vehicle on the road, they can issue you with a spot fine, a ticket. The ticket is the important instrument, so you don't pay. It will stipulate the time within which you pay. And it doesn't say pay now, Isos. Yeah. And I think those who do that type of thing have ulterior motives.
Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Expertly Speaking. My name is Farai Mwakutuya. My guest, as always, is Advocate Fortune Chassi. Great to have you here on the show.
Thank you very much, Farai.
Advocate, over the last, I suppose, couple of weeks, there's been a raging discussion around tinted windows and window tints. And, I think social media has been abuzz and awash with all of that. So I think in view of that, I just thought, let's get some clarity around the laws around tinted windows. I think, obviously, just to understand what the law says, and then maybe the procedure of how amendments to laws can be done. So, starting from that perspective, I think SI 129 of 2015 deals with the issue of tinted windows.
Yes.
Let me just very quickly say, quote what it says. It's in section 54, subsection 3. No person shall drive a motor vehicle on any road unless all glass or other transparent material fitted to the vehicle is maintained in such a condition that there is no interference with the driver's vision, and where such material is tinted, and it shall ensure a safe degree of visibility. So that's what the law says.
Yeah.
I suppose my first question would be, who determines that this is a safe level of tint, this is the tint that's permissible?
Yeah, so that's a key weakness of this law, because ideally there should be specifications as to the level of opacity of the tint, so that you are then able to say this is a safe degree of visibility. This is not a safe degree of visibility. So the standard set in section 54.3 is very vague and open to argument or debate, and leaves an inordinate amount of discretion to the vehicle inspection department or the police that have to deal with these things practically. So, mupurisa anozongokudza kuti it's too dark. Makanyanya kusviba.
But too dark, where's the scale?
Where's the scale? And so I would recommend that the vehicle inspection department issues the technical specifications. And these tints are being done everywhere. We go Kunanarare Street. Yeah, you find guys, people waving the tints and offering to do them. And a lot of them are done there. And most of that material is imported. And there is no standardization that has been put in place by government to say what sort of tint is permissible. And I think there are good policy considerations to regulate the use of tints. It's more blacker than charcoal. And you wonder why is it? And sometimes, put yourself in the shoes of police officers at a roadblock. Sometimes they are looking for criminals.
Yeah.
And when they stop a vehicle, they want to be able to see who is inside or what is inside without necessarily making people come out or opening the doors. Now, if those tints are as dark as some of them, then a criminal has all the time to prepare to load their gun, cock it, and shoot at police officers. So I think there are public concerns, security concerns, crime prevention concerns that are there. But the bottom line is that at the moment, there is no ban legally on tinting. And if the situation is going to be changed, it means that the current statutory instrument, 129 of 2015, needs to be repealed and a new one put in place to effect the ban. That is the legal process.
So we'll get to the procedure. The point you've just mentioned there, where you are saying law enforcement officers, roadblock, people want to see what's inside the vehicle. Where does that sit vis-a-vis the right to privacy? It's my vehicle, and if I want to put blacked out windows for my own privacy and security, I want to make sure that, perhaps criminals don't see that I've got valuables in the vehicle. Where does that sit? Those considerations, where does that sit?
Yeah, as you can see, there is an evident conflict between the right to privacy and also the need to curtail criminal conduct. And at the end of the day, the public good is that the public must be protected from people who may abuse this device. And as long as the law is of general application, it is well and good. I think that there is a measure of protection of privacy that is permissible. But to have your entire car almost really painted in black, or my window is painted in black, it also poses a danger, by the way.
To yourself as a driver.
Yeah, to yourself as a driver. And as well as to other unsuspecting members of the public, because you are not able to see what is outside properly. Somebody could be warning you, waving at you to stop you from hitting some object. But because your car is too dark, you may not be able to see that. So I think there are practical dangers that exist with the tints.
That notwithstanding, we did see via social media some motorists who were allegedly ticketed in the wake of this obviously confusion around ban or no ban. We did see some tickets or motorists that were ticketed.
Yes.
What is to happen in people like that? Because as you've quite rightly said, there is no ban. So if I've received a ticket, what happens?
I think it depends on what they've been ticketed for. If the ticketing is about them having tinted their cars, then that ticket is legally invalid. So the ticket must really refer to visibility.
Okay.
And we come back to the issue that we spoke about earlier on, to say, what is the acceptable level of visibility? Maybe you have a police officer who has defective eyes. Their capacity to see is limited, and so as soon as an opaque object is in their face, they consider it an obstruction, and so they are likely to say, no, this is too dark. So I think the control really needs to come well before the stage of the police ticketing somebody. There must be specific standards. And I really think it's the VID that needs to do this. Those standards must come via a statutory instrument so that it's not left to the discretion of a police officer and their whims whilst they are at a roadblock. So that needs to happen. But also importation. I think a lot of these tints appear to be coming from outside the country.
Yeah.
And Zimbabwe needs to regulate what tints are acceptable in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And at entry point, determine whether a particular level of tint is acceptable or not acceptable.
So what is clearly coming through here is, as you're saying, there are very valid reasons for addressing this issue and perhaps a need to revisit the law, which brings me to the next point where I'm saying, how then, as you've said, would such a change happen? You mentioned earlier the existing SI must be repealed. So let's talk now about the procedure. If a ban, and not just in this case, if a ban or a change to a law is to happen, what is the correct procedure? Who must announce it? How must it go?
Yes. So let me refer to how this issue came into the public domain a few weeks ago. As I said, we have the relevant statutory instrument. And it was deliberately put in place because our country runs on the basis of the rule of law. So if you are accused of having done something wrong, you go to the law and say, which law did I break? And so in this instance, you go to this statutory instrument, look at its provisions, compare it to the conduct complained of, and then take it from there. So that statutory instrument was issued by the Minister of Transport. In terms of the Road Traffic Act, the minister can issue a whole panoply of statutory instruments governing his portfolio. So he is the one who must initiate that. And he obviously works with technical people from within the ministry and from the Vehicle Inspection Department, which falls under him. And so those standards are put together and they come in the form of a statutory instrument. So the short answer to your question is that the duty to deal with this and to clarify these issues lies squarely on the Minister of Transport. And once he has put that statutory instrument in place, he can then come into the public and announce that, okay, we've banned the tint, and on the basis of the statutory instrument.
So the SI must be gazetted first before any announcement.
Yes. And why that is important is that the practice of the Parliament of Zimbabwe, the legal committee, there's a legal committee whose mandate is to review all proposed pieces of legislation, which include statutory instruments, bills, general notices. This is a grouping of lawyers. They evaluate the content of the statutory instrument against the dictates of the Constitution. And if they are of the view that parts of the statutory instrument run against the grain of the Constitution, they will send it back to the minister to say, no, you can't have this type of statutory instrument. For example, if the statutory instrument comes and says, we are banning tints, the arguments or the issues that we are raising against privacy, etc., will be ventilated in that committee.
Yeah.
And that committee is a watchdog for the public to ensure that the constitutional provisions that govern the country are applied by administrative authorities when they translate policy into law.
Indeed. Just moving on a bit, I think since we are under matters to do with roads, transport, traffic, again, I see a lot of people raising contentious issues and just being upset or unhappy about what happens at roadblocks. Perhaps just to clarify and just give us some information, we obviously can't cover all the issues, but what can happen? What powers do law enforcement officers have at a roadblock? I get there, can they ask for my driver's license and take it away from me? Or do they just need to see it? Perhaps let's start there.
Yes, I think it's common practice that people will say my combi was stopped, and then because I didn't have a triangle, my license was taken. That is obviously arbitrary and abuse of the power that the police may have in that type of situation. So the police can stop a vehicle. They can ask for a license. That's the only way they will know whether you, Farai, who is driving your GD6, you are lawfully doing so under the laws of Zimbabwe. So they want to see the license. They check with your face. Is that you? Are you driving the correct class of vehicle? Yes. Often it happens that the police may have to drive the vehicle. So they've stopped you. They discover, this is the armed robber that we've been looking for. So you now can drive.
Yes.
So the police have to take the vehicle off the road. Suppose it's at a toll gate and there is a long queue of people that are waiting to drive past. The police remove the vehicle. But in some instances, this has been abused, where there is some altercation and they take the key, push you out, they get
into the vehicle.
That is dangerous. I think you have seen, some officers or members of the public being injured. But it also places the police and the Minister of Home Affairs at risk of legal suits. In all these things that happen, you bump into people because you're fighting over the steering wheel and so forth. The injured person can move and go to the High Court and sue the minister and the ZRP, and government may end up losing money unnecessarily. So the short answer is that the police cannot take your license to fix you. Or, for example, because you have refused to pay a spot fine. I think the law is very clear. So you are entitled. If the police are unhappy with any aspect of your vehicle or your conduct concerning a vehicle on the road, they can issue you with a spot fine, a ticket. And if you are happy to pay the fine, by all means pay the fine. If you,
at the
actual roadblock. If you are not happy, it's perfectly within your rights to go and contest that decision in court. I'm not quite sure what the traffic ticket looks like now, but in the past it actually had a provision to say if you dispute, you can appear at Rotten Row at such a time. So you had a traffic court there where people would come with their tickets and their matters would be. So people should not be forced to say, Badara Ibopanapa.
Because in some cases, actually, maybe I acknowledge that I'm in violation, but I don't have the money.
Yeah, exactly. So the ticket is the important instrument. So you don't pay. It will stipulate the time within which you pay. And it doesn't say pay now, Isos. And I think those who do that type of thing have ulterior motives. They have ulterior motives. Otherwise, a person should be ticketed. They can go home. It depends on what the offense is. If, for example, you are driving a vehicle with 2 front wheels that are loose, wobbly, and so forth, the police cannot. That would be a serious matter which they may refer to the courts, and ask the vehicle inspection department to take the vehicle because it's not roadworthy.
Yeah.
So you can't drive from this point
and continue
because kana chikochikari yachiri better than nyoka.
Yeah. But in the case of spot fines, as you said, I think that's the most contentious issue we often hear from people.
Yeah.
If I'm unable to, if I'm disputing,
Yes.
I don't have to. I'm not compelled to pay there.
To pay on the spot.
Okay. I suppose from looking on the other side, the officials might then say it then becomes a cost and a burden on us to follow up. I've given you a ticket, Advocate Chassis, and then you abscond. You maybe you live in Harare, but this ticket is given to you in Gweru. You abscond and come here to Harare, knowing that it will be very difficult for traffic police in Gweru or Middle East to be able to trace you here. Yeah. So their argument is, look, we are doing that's why we do it.
Yeah, true, and I think it's a necessary cost in order to respect the rights of individuals. But remember, you have a car which has a number plate, which will be moving on the roads. And police should have the capacity of flagging your car, even at a toll gate. And I think those technologies are coming. So the days when you could hide ad infinitum from the police will be a thing of the past. The police should be able now to scan your license disc, your number plate, and see that this guy was issued with a ticket 2 years ago and he has been hiding. Ngakungodriver kumusha chete. So you have a ticket here. So
which is accrued interest.
Yeah. So you're actually being arrested now.
True.
And the police take charge of the car.
All right. I suppose lots and lots of other things that we can talk about and go at length about this. I suppose, as a way forward, I would be encouraging our viewers and listeners to this podcast, if there are any other issues you want us to tackle specifically on the issue of road traffic, traffic rules and things like that, please do let us know, and then we can obviously dive deeper into them. But for today, I think we've exhausted the topics at hand. Thank you so much for tuning in and choosing us. Advocate Chassis, thank you so much for your time.
So much
and obviously, your insights are very, very valuable. Our digital and social media platforms are on the screen right now. Please do engage with us. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe and follow us. It is always great to speak to you. It is Expertly Speaking. Join us again next time.